We're talking with Evan Hendricks at Privacy Times. Evan, if you can tell me first what has happened and why are people worried about it?
Well, an unknown hacker or hackers has penetrated the Sony PlayStation system and obtained personal information on some 77 million gamers who use PlayStation, including their names, their email addresses, their passwords, and possibly credit card numbers that were used to subscribe to the system. This matters because those hackers know how to leverage that information to penetrate other accounts that might have the same email addresses and passwords on them. And then, of course, the credit card numbers can immediately be sold on a black market to try and do as many unauthorized and fraudulent purchases as they can before the numbers are canceled.
Now, Evan, what could happen if your information is compromised? For a young person in particular, why do they have to be worried about this?
Well, if you're a high school student and your parents did you a favor by letting you use a credit card to sign up for Sony PlayStation, this is a chance to show your parents that you're growing up and taking responsibility. You need to tell your parents what happened. You need to tell them that they can make one simple call to the credit card company and cancel that credit card and ask for a replacement card, and that will protect them from any unauthorized purchases that could go on their card because of these hackers. Because if the unauthorized purchases go on the cards, then the parents have to spend all this time with a credit card company showing that they did not make these purchases, and that's usually a big hassle, and it takes a lot of time out of their day, and they could get so upset that they would ground their high school children for not being more responsible.
I got you. What other steps should people take if they feel like, for instance, if their password information has been compromised? We've heard that if you use the same password for instance, your bank account as you do for your email account, you should probably go change your passwords on both your bank account and your email account? And so you really would recommend doing that even though that's a hassle?
Right. I mean, all this stuff is a hassle, and this is if you really want to be safe. If you like to live on the edge, then just sit back and see if anything happens. The safest thing to do is anytime you use that same password connected with that same email address that was hacked here, go change the password at the other places you use it, and then make a list in your little notebook at home where only you have access to what your new password is. Because again, the hackers are very shrewd and slick, and they know how to get information and then leverage that basically like a chain reaction. So here they get your PlayStation stuff, but then they go and find out that you have other accounts in other places on the web through Google or Gmail or something like that. Eventually, they try and search around where there's accounts where there might be more credit card numbers.
Evan, I understand that if you buy Netflix, if you use that through PlayStation, as an adult or anyone else using Netflix on PlayStation, you could be compromised there too. Is that right?
Yes, because security is only as good as the weakest link in the chain, and so we clearly see that the chain has been broken, and that means that you get inside the walls, and then the best hackers would be able to get into Netflix and probably get into the account information and see what movies have been checked out and that sort of thing. So it's not a happy situation. It's particularly disappointing that one of the oldest technology companies, Sony, had such a poor system in place where they didn't detect these intrusions, and then after it happened, they took more than a week to notify people. That is very bad performance.
Evan, who ends up paying if people are hurt in this, and your credit card is fraudulently charged, and even though the charges may be taken off, and you lose money and time trying to solve all this, does Sony end up paying for that? Who usually ends up paying for mistakes like that? Well,
Sony will definitely pay for this one way or the other, but it has the potential to raise costs for everybody, and because it increases the expense they have to do for anti-fraud and for security. And so it's one of those things that, insurance fraud can really sort of start bumping up prices on a lot of stuff throughout the system.
We've been talking with Evan Hendricks, the editor of Privacy Times. His tips and more are right here on the site. Let's quickly review who should be worried about this. If you use a PlayStation and you have an account with PlayStation, or you watch Netflix on a PlayStation, you need to be concerned about this. You need to pay attention to the tips. Many thanks.